Hello students, this is Apeksha teacher once again. I am happy to be back. I am sure you are doing good with your studies, regular with your studies. The next poem, that is the poem number 2 that we are going to do is Dust of Snow. Dust of Snow is written by Robert Frost. So before I start with the explanation of this short poem, let us see about the author. Our poet's name is Robert Frost. Now, Robert Frost was born in 1874 and he passed away in the year 1963. If I want to talk about Robert Frost, he was very interested in rural life and he used to examine complex and social philosophical themes. He was not popular till he turned 40, right? He became popular after he turned 40, and during his time he won 4 Pulitzer prizes for poetry, and he was very good at its work. So he is called as an artistic institution, and even if he stayed in England because of his health, he is known as the poet laureate of the United States. Fine. So this is about a little bit about Robert Frost. Before we move forward to the explanation of the poem, I would like you to tell you something about the poem itself. See, the Dust of Snow was not the real heading or the title of the poem. It was first published in 1923 in a book called New Hampshire 5. First, the heading was given Favor, then somehow it was changed to Snow Dust, and in the end, the heading or the title that we see, Dust of Snow, is given. It is also used in a musical, and there was a music set to it by Elliot Carter, and that became very, very famous. See, Dust of Snow is a single sentence poem, and if you will see in the textbook that it is not having 4 lines in one stanza. So there are 2 stanzas and it is having 4 lines. See over here, if I tell you, for 4 lines, right, in first stanza, and the second stanza again 4 lines. Fine. So let us begin with the explanation of the poem. See, this poem is very, very intense. Not only intense, it has a very deep meaning to it, right? If we will see the poem stanza wise. Let us see the first stanza. I'll read the poem first. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Before I explain what are these lines telling you, I would like to explain a bit about the hemlock tree. Now, hemlock tree is a poisonous tree. It has pointed leaves, and it is not a sign of good things. It is not a sign of happiness, or it is not a sign of auspiciousness. So here he chooses the tree as hemlock, and there is a crow which is sitting on the hemlock tree. If I want to start explaining the first stanza, I'll say that the poet says that one day he was on his way, that means he's outside his home, roaming around in the open, and suddenly in the winter season a crow shook on him the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. We see usually birds sitting in the tree, and when the snow covered tree, a crow was sitting, and when he tries to fly away, some dust of snow falls on him. And here this is symbolizing of many things. If I want to say, when it flew away and that dust fell on him, there are three things that I want you to see in this poem. It plays a very significant role in the society. First, let us see the what does the crow signify. See, first there is a crow which is black, and it is often considered as a symbol of death, doom and ill omen. Also, we know that crow shook the snow on the poet and did not throw it on him. Thus, it is obvious that the crow was shivering with the chilly cold. Again, the chilling cold, the winter weather, and these all symbolizes a symbol of doom. See, if we see next, we see that dust of snow. The word dust reminds of nothingness. We have come from dust, and in dust we shall go back. हम कुछ नहीं है, हम धूल मिट्टी है, हम धूल मिट्टी में से बने हैं और हम वापस धूल मिट्टी में चले जाएंगे. See, this is what you have you must have heard many times. See, this is not only true in our traditional writings, but we have seen this sentence used in many different major religions of the world. The two major religions of the world are Islamic and Christian theology, and we have often heard this phrase, "Dust thou art, and to dust thou will return." Of course, our hero is roaming about. Dust again becomes another ill omen and indicates bad luck or doom or something which is terrifying or terrible. Right? Finally, we have the hemlock tree. Now, hemlock tree is poisonous tree, which was once, it is a story or it is a myth, I don't know what is true, but it is said that hemlock tree is a poisonous tree, that is true, and it was used by Socrates to commit suicide. Thus, hemlock tree is also a symbol of bad luck or doom. See here, the imaginary our poet uses is trying to tell that that season or that moment or that state of mind was not good. It was not positive. It was not happy. It was not auspicious. But he was feeling all these things, and he tries to symbolize by these three ways. If I say that he is actually very clever, our poet Robert Frost, in using these images to show that this day was quite bad and it was going to be a waste. He was stuck among ample amount of ill omens which would have ruined his remaining day. When we start our day with such thinking, at times we think that now just because अभी मैंने शुरुआत ही ऐसे की तो मेरा पूरा दिन ही खराब जाएगा. Fine. So this sort of a feeling had crept inside the poet, but the stanza ends leaving the reader in thoughts about the worst which might occur as soon as the poet has encountered with so many bad omens at the same time. Fine. It happens that when we see certain signs, we feel that no, today this thing happened, so my day is going to be good. Today this thing happened, so my day is going to be bad. So after seeing these things, a black crow, a hemlock tree, the dust falling on him, these three things started having a negative impact on the poet. See, one important thing worth noticing here is that the whole poem is written in one single sentence. Though the stanza ends in the fourth line, the sentence has not ended, which indicates that the mood of the poet remains the same, right? Here I would like to bring your attention to the last four lines, that is the stanza 2. In the previous stanza, we guessed that something bad will happen in the final stanza. But when we read the final four lines, let me read it. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Rued over here means to have regret about it. Fine. So in the fourth stanza, when we were expecting that अनथी भी इससे भी बुरा होने वाला है, तो and that point these four lines ironically the poet feels good about it. See, in the previous stanza, when we had guessed that something bad will happen in the final stanza, but all the three things that we saw or we tried to delineate as or define as ill omens have rather a good effect on the poet. The poet says that the crow, the dust of the snow, and the hemlock tree has given a change of mood to his heart. It's very unusual, right? The poet feels good when the dust of snow, which is quite lightweight, falls on him, and he feels that some part of the day which was wasted is now saved, and he is feeling good about it now. Thus, the poem gives us the message that one should never become hopeless and sorrowful when he faces, problem, and a person can, it is in his hand how to change his or her mood, right? See, the poem here is actually a very inspiring poem, that even if your luck is not with you, even if you feel depressed, even if you feel sorrowful, it is I who have to change everything, right? Even if you become hopeless and sorrowful when you are faced with a problem, a person can get relief and inspiration even in the worst situation. So I think this explanation is going to be good for us, and hope I'd like to read the poem once again so that there is continuation of thought. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. So there's nothing that we cannot control. It is happiness or sadness is what we create for ourselves. I hope this explanation is fine with you, and let's learn from it so that